Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we are going to be calculating labor productivity and the MFP multi-factor productivity measures. And what these measures show in operations management specifically are a ratio of how good our outputs are compared to our inputs. So how good are we at converting labor or cost or materials into our finished product? So let's walk through a little case study we have here. So this table right here on my left, shows information from Super Funtime Laser Tag by day. So this is the laser tag information per day. The hourly wage for each worker is $10. Overhead is 1.8 times the labor cost, and the material cost is $6 for each customer. And each worker works 8 hours per day. We have 4 different branches. We have Scranton, Utica, New York, Nashua. Extra credit if you know what those are from. They're from the office. So at each branch, we have different employees and a different amount of customers per day. So what we want to do, we want to calculate a couple different things. First, we want to calculate the labor productivity. And essentially what that is going to be is how many customers we have, or our output, divided by how many employees we have. But when calculating your labor productivity and your MFP, it is kind of important to set out your formulas before you start kind of having everything over the place. And I like to do it one step at a time. One step at a time. Once you get better at this, you can do it a little bit better, but let's go ahead and do it one step at a time. So what I want to do, I want to come down here and I just want to rewrite everything. I'm going to have all my branches. I'm going to have the employees that we have. I want to have our customers per day. And then the information that we need to solve this is we need to know our labor cost. So how much does it cost to pay our employees? We need a materials cost, and additionally, we need our overhead cost. So these are the pieces of information that we need to solve to be able to calculate our labor productivity and our multi-factor productivity. So in addition to overhead, we're also going to need the total cost, and then finally we can come with our LP and our MFP measures. So each branch, let's bring these down here. I'm simply going to come up here and I'm going to copy and paste. So I'm going to Control C if I'm on a PC, or Command C, and then Command V if you're on a Mac. And then my labor cost. So let's go ahead and bring some of the information from this description into here. So the employees work 8 hours per day. Labor cost says it's $10 per hour. Material cost is $6 per customer, and overhead is 1.8. So I'm going to be, when I build my formulas in Excel, I'm going to be referencing these numbers. So I had to pull them out of the text and put them in as plain numbers so Excel will work with them. So what's your total labor cost going to be? Your total labor cost is going to be some calculation between how many employees you have, the number of hours they work, and how much they earn per hour. So my labor cost here, I'm going to find how many employees I have for Scranton. I have 4, and I'm going to multiply it by however many employees there are. How many do we have? Or we have 4 employees, and I'm going to multiply by how many hours they work. Sorry, so 8 hours. But because I'm going to be copying and pasting this formula down, I'm going to do what's called an absolute cell reference. So that essentially just puts dollar signs in front of the column and row. So it's going to make it so I can copy and paste it easier. And then also my hourly wage is going to be $10 an hour. And I'm going to do an absolute cell reference as well. So now when I hit enter, I see that my labor cost, which is a combination of 4 employees multiplied by 8 hours per day multiplied by $10 per hour, means that our labor cost per day is $320. So I can copy and paste that down. Now we need to calculate our materials cost, and our materials cost is just how many customers we had per day multiplied by the cost. So here I'm going to do 38 customers multiplied by what is our cost, $6. I'm going to do an absolute cell reference here so I can copy and paste it down. So that brings our material cost to $228. All right, and I can go ahead and I can copy and paste that down. When working in Excel, it is really important to make sure that all of your formulas are consistent, and making sure that if you have cell referencing, you keep it so you can copy and paste that down. All right, and our overhead cost is simply, if we come up here, it is 1.8 times our labor cost. So I'm going to go and I'm going to multiply 320 by 1.8. I can do this absolute cell reference, which gives me $576 in overhead. I'm going to go ahead and format these as a dollar. You don't have to do this, but it can just help kind of keep everything straight. And next, we need to calculate our total cost. So total cost is going to be the sum of our labor, our materials, and our overhead. So that gives us a total cost per day of $1,124. That is our total cost. So we can calculate our labor productivity, which essentially is how many customers per day that we're bringing through per worker. So now I'm going to take my customers per day, which is 38, and divide it by per employee, which is 4, which gives me a labor productivity output of 9.5. Copy and paste that down, and we see all of these different numbers here. So labor productivity is, like again what I said, it's customer per day per worker. Customer per day per worker. So we can see if you have a higher labor productivity, so we see New York, they are getting the most customers in and out. So each employee is getting a lot of people in and out, whereas Utica, per employee, they're not, their labor isn't as good. So they're not being as productive there. So this is a very important productivity measure. All right, so lastly, we want to calculate our multi-factor productivity measure. And what this is going to do is it's going to assess how many customers we have for our total cost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select our total customers for that day, which is $38, divided by our total cost, which is $11.24. So what I'm doing here is I'm essentially doing total customers divided by labor cost, materials cost, and overhead. But since using the total cost, I can kind of just combine that into one simple formula, which gives me a multi-factor productivity score of a ratio of 0.034. So what I would do is I would assess what my MFP score is per day, and I'd see if there are any trends. If that score is increasing, that means that you're doing better at converting the dollars that you spend into paying customers. If it's decreasing, that means you're not doing as good converting dollars that you spend into paying customers. So it's really important as you are calculating your labor productivity and your multi-factor productivity that you understand what they mean. Yes, they're just a mathematical number and it's just a mathematical formula that you're kind of inputting, but it's important to know what they actually mean, right? So when you go into a business, when you go into an organization, don't just say, my LP is 9.5. You need to say per worker, we are getting 9.5 customers through per day. And you need to be able to communicate the data just as well as you can calculate the data. So it's important to calculate and communicate what you worked out. So this is how you calculate labor productivity and multi-factor productivity in Excel with this example here. Good luck with your assignment. Let me know if you have any questions, and you have a great day.